All right, you absolute legends. I am using a microphone because I'm trying to make the sound on this good because we've got two of us here. But we're sitting in Ross's living room and we are going to do a Tour de France preview, a 2017 Tour de France preview. It is 2 days before the race. And so we thought we'd look at the first couple of stages, who is going to be our major contenders. I did a live stream on Instagram today and I must have had about 20 people ask me who is going to win it. And Ross is no slouch himself with the bike racing world. Ross has won, what was the name of the race again? I've just had a mind blank.
It's a huge cycling race. It's a triathlon called Ultraman Canada, which is difficult for you cyclists to take because it's a triathlon. We probably don't wear socks, so forgive me for my lack of cycling knowledge. Apologies.
He's pretty good, mate. We've been talking off camera prior to this, and Ross is all over it. So we are going to go through now some of the big contenders. And the first one, straight away, let's go straight away off the bat. Froome Dog.
Froome Doggy Dog. Froome Doggy Dog. The man he's got the team. He hasn't shown the form this year that perhaps he's had run-ins in previous years. Obviously, the Dauphiné was a big one. But the guy's team, I was flicking through it, he's got Landa, he's got Geraint Thomas, Sergio Henao, Kwiatkowski, the former world champ, Luke Rowe for the flat stages, Mikkel Nieve. So, I mean, that team, when you're doing a Grand Tour, that team is mustard. I think that's going to be the deciding factor for me. I think most people seem to be saying it's between Richie Porte.
The thing is with Porte, right? He showed awesome form at the Dauphiné, right? But two questions: was Froome sandbagging, right? And the second question is BMC good enough?
Both answers are no.
Right.
Froome wasn't sandbagging. I think he just didn't have the form at the time. That doesn't mean he won't for the Tour. Although one of the big stages, stage 5, so that's quite early for the first. I think stage 5, maybe even stage 3. I think there are summit finishes. So it's not the usual sort of first week rolling around in the wind. Yeah. So that could make a big difference. But Porte, his team compared to Team Sky or even like Astana, he looks pretty weak. I think that's going to be a telling factor.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a strong guy and he's obviously in great form, but he's not going to be able to do it on his own, and especially against a lot of guys. I mean, let's look at out of the BMC, who's going to be up the hill with him. There's no one that really, Greg Van Avermaet, but I don't know if Greg's going to be much use to him.
Nico Roach. I mean, Nico Roach is obviously a good climber and he was ex-Team Sky. But I think the bulk of these guys, the climbing guys, they were at the Dauphiné. So, and they weren't in the final reckoning on pretty much any stage. So I'd be worrying about that if I was Porte, because he's going to be isolated for sure. Yeah.
Now Fabio Aru for Astana, he won the Italian national championships last weekend. How do you think he's going to go?
He looks like he's in good form, but again, I think the problem for him is that you've got Jakob Fuglsang, who won the Dauphiné, and the bookies have got those two, at the same price. I think it's like 14-1 or something. But you need a team leader. If you want to win a Grand Tour, I think it's hard to have two team leaders, and I don't know if they get on with each other. So that'll be interesting. And I think these are the things that's going to make it the closest tour for a long, long time. You've got all these sort of factions going on. Quintana, he's raced the Vuelta. Is that going to mean that he's knackered? Aru and Fuglsang on the same team. Froome not got the same form. There's a lot of issues that are going to come into play.
Now for the prologue, we've got a 14-kilometre time trial. There is no team time trial in this year's Tour de France. There's a 14-kilometre time trial and then a 22-kilometre time trial later in the race. Who is looking good, do you think, for the prologue?
Tony Martin.
Tony Martin?
Fact. I can't actually see anyone doing him over. He's in love with his bike. He's on a Canyon. Canyon.
Canyons.
Hashtag Canyon.
Canyon.
Canyons for Maven. But for this kind of course, looking at the course, it's 14.5k. I think it's pretty flat. I think Tony Martin's going to be going all out for this one.
Favourites for stage 1, the 14k time trial. Most people think it's either going to be out of Tony Martin or Vos van Emden.
John van Schnitzelberg.
Jos van Emden.
Jos van Emden.
Jos van Emden. People have also got Stephen Cummings, Richie Port.
I think it's a great shout. So he's just won the UK national. He did the double UK national time trial champ and road champ. So he's obviously got the form.
Yeah.
But I think this is a real proper out and out TT course. It's flat. It's short. I think the bigger guy, Tony Martin, he's going to drop some wattage bazookas.
Yeah. I think he's got this one wrapped up. We've got Cav racing as well. Now, Cav finished in the top 20, top 21st in the Nationals on the weekend. So he's just come back from illness. How do you think? Do you reckon he's going to take a few stages?
I think he's the kind of guy that could still deliver a stage, even though he's had glandular fever. He's obviously not firing on all cylinders, but he's got a team around him, and I think he's one for the big occasion. Good cliche.
Yeah, so Cav is racing. Now, what else have we got? We've got the first stage. It goes from Dusseldorf to, this is the Australian accent coming out here.
To Liège.
So we've got Dusseldorf to Liège. That's the first stage, which is 202 kilometres. I reckon Sagan can win the first stage?
Yeah, first stage is a long stage, so I think it's going to be ridden, I don't know, maybe like a classic stage. And it's got a punch at the end. It's not a massive climb, but it's like 1k at 4-5%, that kind of thing. But at the back end of a 200k stage, I think the likes of Van Avermaet, Sagan. I think Sagan could get his first win on the board early doors, because that green jersey obviously is it's going to be his record, like 712th green jersey. So
just looking at the course profile, it is pretty flat. There is a little Cat 4 climb at the beginning within 6Ks. And there's another one towards the end, which is probably at about the 181 kilometre mark. But at the end of the day, it's going to be pretty straightforward for the boys to get over. What about Michael Matthews?
Well, he's one of your mob, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think the race has to be much harder for Mikey to win. Marcel Kittel, I think, could be another good contender for this one.
Yeah, and I think because you've got that little punch late on, I think people like Alexander Kristoff, like these classics guys, the guys who can ride a classic but still sprint big. Kristoff, that's why I think Kristoff, Sagan, and for me, whoever the other dude was, I said. Oh, Van Avermaet.
Van Avermaet.
Yes. Yeah. The big guy.
Let's look at some of the key stages, right? We were talking earlier about Froome Dog and the fact that he attacked. We haven't seen many people do that on a descent.
Yeah.
Recently to actually put a big gap into his rivals in the last year's Tour de France. There's going to be opportunity for him to do that in this year's Tour de France. What stages are going to be big opportunities? What are the key stages in your mind?
I think this year it's going to be a bit different, and I think the race organisers must have looked at this. I mean, descending has become a big factor now. We've seen Froome Dog sitting on his top tube, layering down the climbs, and even in the Dauphiné, he broke away on a descent. That is a skill. There's no doubt about it. But there's quite a few. I think there's only 3 summit finishes this year, but there are a lot of big climbs that end with big descents. And I know that stage 13, I think that was one of the ones that was sort of marked out. That actually, in the old days, you'd be saying like Nibali or someone like that was going to try and push it. Well, these could be the ones where Froome really tries to take it on.
Yeah, we've got stage 13, which has 3 really big Cat 1 climbs through the middle of the race, and 74 Ks into a 101 kilometre race stage. So it's not a long stage, but it's definitely big hilly climbs. And at 74 Ks, it sort of goes up and goes over a Cat 1 climb, and then it's the best part of 25, 30 Ks down to the finish. So definitely an opportunity.
Yeah. And obviously you've got the big stages with the big climb. The summit finishes are going to be, they're always great to watch. Maybe they come a bit early this year, I'm not sure. But the other stage you've got is stage 17 with the Galibier. I mean, that's going to be a cracking stage for sure.
Yeah. All right, stage 17, 183 kilometres. It's from Lemur to Serre-Chevalier. I'll put it on screen. You guys can pronounce it however you like. But it's a big stage. Again, 3 massive climbs. You've got a Cat 2 climb pretty early on in the stage within the first 30 kilometres. And then you've got a horse category climb, a Cat 1 climb, and then another massive HC climb towards the end with a descent down to the finish. And the descent's probably, again, another 30-kilometre descent. So Froome going over the top of that last climb.
I think as well, you've got if Froome descending like a madman and French favourite Romain Bardet. You know, I think at some point they're going to get together, not off the bike, on the bike.
All right, legends. Now, we'll finish this up with, let's do a pre-Tour de France prediction. Who are your top 3 for GC?
I'm going to go Froome, Port. You know, if he can use Team Sky, they are busy mates. And then I think Romain Bardet. I think he's going to have the tour of his life.
Ooh.
Top 3 Frenchman in the top 3. Where you going? What are you saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Froome, Fulsang, and you know, really, I mean, it's there's so many. There's 6 or 7 who are sort of, you know, there's so much depth in the top end of this year's Tour de France. But I'm thinking Froome, Fulsang, and then Richie Porte, because I don't think Richie Porte's got a very strong team. And I think Fulsang and Aru together, you know, they'll be up there. But Richie, I don't know who he's got really to help him out. So
what about Quintana? What are you saying? He obviously was second in the Giro.
Yeah, Quintana, I think he frustrates me. He does it. You know, I've never seen the guy attack, as I think you said that the other night. And you know, he reminds me a lot of Cadel Evans. He just sort of follows wheels. And you know, I think with the Giro in his legs, and then backing up and trying to back up and get a good result on the Tour de France is it's a tough task.
I enjoy the interviews with him because he has the face of a 60-year-old man and the voice of a 90-year-old man.
Yeah.
That's always a highlight.
Yeah. I'm going to make it my life goal to interview him at this year's Tour de France.
Oh, Mark, I like the Giro.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. I think he does. No, he doesn't speak English. No. Anyway.
My Colombian's weak, to be fair.
Yeah. But anyway, Ross, mate, you've made this sort of preview.
Guaranteed 6% knowledge there.
We want to thank the girls in the background for just putting up with us.
I've just signed up the milkman.
Katie just signed up the milkman.
I don't even know what that means. I'm a little concerned.
And thank you for enduring our professional preview here. And we'll catch you guys. This is it for you.
Comment below.
This is for you. If you guys want Ross to come and do the Tour de France and come and do some stage previews with us, let us know. So that is a brief look at the upcoming races. I am flying out of Hitchin tomorrow morning with Hanny at about 10 a.m. or something like that. We arrive at 2 p.m. We've got a bit of a specialised thing on tomorrow night. I think it's just a cocktail party. And then we've got a Canyon launch on Saturday night. So a couple of things in the pipeline. We'll see you guys in the next vlog. We're going to try and aim for daily vlogging pending environmental factors, including data and Wi-Fi and stuff. So we'll see you on the first vlog on Sunday morning from the time trial. See you then.